Everybody ready to
The three star.
go?
Exactly.
It's only 12 buildings.
Everybody ready to go? I'm gonna call to order the, whatever this group is called.
Planning Commission.
Used to be Planning Commission.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Planning Commission, that's right, I forget what it, June 28th, Sandusky City Planning Commission, calling the meeting to order, it's 5 o'clock, we could have the roll call.
Jade Castile. Jim Jackson.
Here.
Pete McGorry.
Here,
David Miller.
Yes.
Steve Pajali.
Here.
Connor Whalen.
Here.
Mike Zuloff.
Here.
appears we have a quorum. We don't need to take any action for Ms. Castile. Okay. Moving to the agenda, after the roll call, the next item is approval of minutes from the May 24th, 2023 meeting. I've read those minutes. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at them? Anybody care to make a motion for approval?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for approval as distributed.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second for discussion. Any discussion? Mr. Zuloff, any objections or?
I object to your suggestion that,
Just looking around to see if.
are you suggesting I'm the only one who ever reads the minutes and finds the
But
mistakes?
sometimes you have objections, so I thought I would just,
you-
skip over, move too fast.
You haven't seen anything yet. You want to see objections? I'll show you objections.
Okay. All right. So, any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, any opposed? Okay. Motion passed. Next item on the agenda,
I object.
moving forward quickly, is an adjudication hearing for a conditional use permit application filed by Steve Ross on behalf of the Fraternal Order of Orioles. And the application is for a conditional use permit at 1235 West Perkins Avenue to allow a, described as an animated sign, maybe electronic sign. If staff could educate us a little bit on that application.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The site in question is Zone GB
Real
General.
quick to interrupt, apologize,
Yeah.
Mr. Oakes. We need to swear folks in for an adjudication hearing, is that correct?
Oh, yep, my
You're in
apologies.
staff too, so.
Yep, my apologies.
Well, I guess Mr. Heil's not here.
Yeah, you can always
Okay.
say.
So anybody that's going to speak, including, I guess, the applicant, if he's here, I would ask that you raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, so help you God.
I do.
I do.
Okay. Proceed.
Thank you. The site in question is Zone GB General Business. To the north is PF Public Facilities. To the east is GB General Business. To the south is in Perkins Township. It's zoned I2 Heavy Industrial. And to the west is GB General Business. The surrounding uses of this site are both business and civil. The existing use of this site is a fraternal organization. The proposed use is staying a fraternal organization. This is currently the location of the Fraternal Order of the Eagles, and they've submitted an application for a conditional use permit to replace the existing message board on the picture in the upper left corner with a digital LED message board pictured elsewhere on this screen. The zoning code currently permits digital signs only with a conditional use permit. The ground sign will also be removed as part of this application, and the new digital sign will be the same area as the existing message board. And it'll be approximately 90 inches by 41 inches. Let's see here. So based on zoning code section 1109.10 is the list of bullet points and requirements for reviewing a conditional use permit for a message board, such as a digital message board. And staff has determined that all of these standards are met. There's no objections from any other departments. And staff recommends the approval of the proposed conditional use for the digital sign at 1235 West Perkins Avenue with the following conditions, and that's that all applicable permits are obtained through the Building Department, Engineering Department, Division of Planning, and any other applicable agency prior to its construction, and that shall not be of excessive brightness or cause a glare of hazard to pedestrians or auto drivers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Just to correct the record, the application is on behalf of a smaller bird, not the Eagles, so.
Orioles.
Oh, Orioles, my apologies.
So, any questions of staff at this time?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Zuloff?
I would like us to grease the skids on these and just recommend, like we have required of all the other electronic signs, to not permit the sign to change any more frequently than every 10 seconds. That's basically an ODOT requirement too, or they have authority. And that reduces the chance of the sign being distracting. And I think on every prior electronic sign that we've approved, maybe say for one, we have required the 10% rule, or the 10-second rule. I'm sorry.
Did the applicant hear that request? Do you have any objection to that?
I do not.
Okay. I think that is correct. I mean, that's regularly been brought up. These signs, well, we don't have, anybody care to make a motion?
Mr.
We can have
Chairman.
discussion.
Well, we need to, it's a hearing, right? And it's a hearing, so
Oh,
anybody can
I'm
speak.
sorry. Oh, well, would the applicant like to make any additional comment other than what the staff has already presented?
No, it's been put out there pretty plainly. I mean, we're just trying to upgrade the property and advertise a lot better for our customers and whatnot, especially
Okay.
getting rid of that small signage in the yard.
And just for the record, since this is a hearing, could you state your name and address?
Yes, it's Steve Ruff, 1031 Perry Street, Sandusky.
Okay, and what is your function with the
I
organization?
am the president.
Okay, and I'm just personally curious, is the Fraternal Order of the Orioles, is that just local, or is that nationwide or statewide, or?
They're mostly from Michigan, New York through Florida.
So this is not the only one?
Yes,
though?
correct.
Okay. Okay.
There's, I believe, one in Elyria, just across the border, Ohio and West Virginia.
Okay,
They are scattered, mostly in Florida, several in New York.
okay, any in Baltimore?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I do have a problem when I look things up like that.
yeah. I mean, would it be a fair statement that you're just looking to be able to more easily provide information to your members and any of the general public?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to correct, I said the 10-second rule, it might be an 8-second rule, I'm not sure. I hope someday we'll, get this little thing ensconced in our ordinances, so that we, don't go through it. But, it's a good rule.
I don't see where the 10 seconds is a problem. I would assume it would be more than that. I mean, you would want people to read what you're advertising.
Right.
10 seconds can go by pretty quick when you're driving the car.
And you don't want them to drive into a telephone pole because they're distracted by the sign either.
Right, correctly, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Anybody care to make a motion?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Presuming, including the conditions indicated by staff that's in their recommendation.
Yeah, that's what I said, yeah, that.
Okay, and then also.
And the ODOT rule, the 8 or 10 seconds, whatever ODOT is.
Okay, does somebody know what that is for sure?
Off the top of my head, I do not.
Shaking their head. You just want to say 10 seconds?
Yeah, I think 10 would be safe, and I believe last time that's what we asked for. It's been over a year since we've had an application like this one, but that's what I recall is
It's
10 seconds, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
You just want to say 10?
Yeah, 10 seconds.
Okay, so that's the motion, and we have a second, the same conditions
Yes.
for discussion. Mr. Miller?
I recall that we've been putting that ODOT standard in these signs since the first one that came before us 10 or 12 or 15 years ago now. And I think in general and principle, I was for it and have been for it pretty consistently. My concern is that I don't see that enforced. We're putting standards or conditions into applications that, if they're not enforced, makes it seem sort of meaningless that we put conditions that people don't abide by, and what mechanism is there to change that? Maybe on principle, just to know that is a requirement, and if there's a complaint or a problem, that it's been in there. But I noticed that we put that condition on a lot of signs that are not compliant with that. Just making that comment.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Zula.
That's, I appreciate that argument. It's often used, and it's true that you can't, but there aren't many rules that get enforced 100%. I think the most important thing is that you have a leg to stand on if somebody's causing a problem, right?
I said that.
So, yeah, right. So selective enforcement is pretty much universal, there's a lot of that. And, but yeah, so are you suggesting that we shouldn't do because of that, or that maybe we should do more enforcement, or maybe you're just pointing out that it's not going to be 100%?
Yeah, one or the other would be good. Making rules that nobody follows makes us look like we don't care about enforcement of the rules that we insist on. That's all.
You mean like speed limits?
Say what?
Like speed limits?
Yeah, for example.
Okay.
And then secondly, a second point, probably I should recuse myself from this vote. Now that I've discussed it, I'll refrain from voting because I'm a member of the Orioles and a devoted and dedicated member, spend a lot of time there. These are fine folks, a great organization, and whatever they want to do with their sign is fine with me. What I see happening is like the church down on Columbus Avenue. It scrolls. Now, how do you say that that's not static for 10 seconds, if you're running the special across the board? And you see that everywhere, but
It's a violation, and I suppose if somebody called code enforcement, they thought that was distracting and causing accidents, they
Right.
might take action, and we
Right.
could because we had the rule.
Yeah.
so I will abstain from the vote just because I like them so much.
I was going to comment that I haven't sat around and looked at these signs, but now that you say that, I think I have seen that one scroll. The ones that just have a separate message, I don't sit there, but it does seem, 10 second goes by pretty quick, so I think a lot of them do comply, but I agree with Mr. Zuloff that if we get to a point that somebody complains about something or there's a series of accidents right there, I think we do have a leg to stand on. I will note that I was at a meeting at the Perkins Township offices, I want to say township offices, and I note that they have an electronic message sign out in front. So, and I'm sure they have similar legislation that goes through for the thing, but the township itself actually has one. So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just comment that if we're going to cite the ODOT handbook and the ODOT rule, we ought to know what it is, number one. I mean, maybe it's every 45 seconds, I don't know. I would tend to take Mr. Ruff at his word. He seems like an honorable man. We can always go back to the minutes where he agreed that it would turn at a longer period of time if we have an issue, and call it a day.
Well, we could amend the motion to just say that the message shall not change any more frequently than once every 10 seconds.
I thought that's what you did say.
That's what I did say.
Yeah.
That's what.
Well, there was some discussion about the ODOT rule.
No.
But
Yeah.
we have, my recollection is we have regularly used the 10 second.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what the motion is, and I think that's what you seconded.
Yes.
Is that clerk? That's what the motion.
I was also going to remind, I'll call your name still, Mr. Miller, per Brendan Heil, and you'll just say you'll abstain for the vote.
She'll call your name, but just say abstain.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we can call the roll.
David Miller,
Abstain.
Mike Zuloff,
Yes.
Jim Jackson,
Yes.
Connor Whalen,
Yes.
Pete McGorry,
Yes.
Steve Pajali.
Yes.
Other than abstention, everybody voting is in favor, so motion approved. Congratulations, good luck going forward. Okay. Next item on the agenda is other business. What other business? Okay, no other business?
Okay.
Hold on one second.
No other business?
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about votes.
And Ms. Blair had said anybody that wants to make a comment about those couple of emails that have come from a city commission member, we could, or really, I think this is something for some exploration by the city attorney.
I have nothing to say about it right now. I would ask Ms. Blair if she had any other updates. You know, we've from time to time welcomed an update from the chief planner in our meetings. Is there anything to talk about?
Sure. I'll mention, we had a final meeting on the skate park conceptual design, I believe it was 2 weeks ago now. We had about 8 people turn out, so our first meeting for that process was more than 30 people, and this one was just a few. They had some pretty technical questions, so I took that to mean that the majority of the community that's interested in that project is really satisfied with that conceptual design. So we're going to be moving on to create construction documents and be able to implement that project. So that's an exciting movement there on the Sandusky Wheels Park, as it's become known to be called. I will remind all commissioners that tomorrow, June 29th, is the kickoff of the Party at the Pier series of concerts that's produced by the city, and those are fun. You should come out and invite your family and friends. The Vindies are playing. They're an Ohio band out of Youngstown. They played last year, and they're pretty fantastic. That's just a personal opinion, not a city recommendation. I was going to mention the vinyl mural program that was in the 2022 Arts Commission work plan are now all completely installed. We ran out of time to install them all in the fall because it got cold. So there's 6 murals out and about around downtown. So I encourage you to walk around and take a look at those. Each of those murals are accompanied by a sign that shows the artist's name, and a little description of the artwork. And thanks to those building owners and the Landmark Commission support for helping get that project complete. You'll notice that since you're now all members of the American Planning Association, they're starting to advertise for the statewide conference coming up in September, and I would encourage you to consider attending. There'll be good information sessions, and that program will be out eventually, so if you wanted to see what the sessions will be like before you sign up, we'll be conducting a session, so I'm leading a session along with Mackenzie Spriggs, Tom Horseman, and Steve Ernst to talk about Party at the Pier. It's called Let's Party at the Pier, but we're also going to talk about the design process of the Jackson Street Pier, how important it is to have inclusive design and programming in your public spaces in order for a strategy for community engagement, economic development, and really celebration of the community. So we'll be, Sandusky will be featured in that session. Also, Professor Kyle Ezel, who conducted the climate migration plan we talked about last month, is leading a session that I'll be sitting on a panel on as well. So Sandusky will have some good representation at that conference. And finally, I've been working with, the planning division's been working with Public Works to come up with a scope and a process to start looking at the MacArthur Park area infrastructure and the Churchwell Park design as kind of our first implementation move from the South Side plan, and we expect that to go in front of City Commission here soon. We had the RFQ went out. There was a group of us that ranked those and conducted a couple of interviews, so that'll be going to City Commission for to award that contract soon. So we're moving forward on South Side plan implementation.
I'd just like to add, talking about the music at the pier, that Juneteenth celebration. I didn't go during the day, but I did go to the concert. First off, the concert was first class. The group was great. I was thinking they might have a female singer, and when they didn't, I was hoping that Darlene Walk was down there. I was hoping they would have brought her up and, do a Shaka Khan song. But I want to tell her that if you see her before I do. So she's got that ability. So.
Well, when I see her, there's going to be words, is all I can tell you. She had somebody call my house last night at 10:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a different issue. Mr. Miller.
The conference in September, do you know the dates, where it's at, how much it costs?
That is all readily available. I think they had an advertisement in your packet. Yeah, September 27th to 29th. I do not know the rates of that. It's in downtown Columbus. Thank you. Commissioner Whalen.
Let me call you for that information.
Might be interesting to go. I got a son that lives down there, so I could stay for free, and I might do that. Okay, any other
Kids though.
discussion or other business?
Business of adjournment.
Yeah, pretty quick meeting, maybe it might be a record.
I think so.
Yeah, it sounds like a record.
So,
I think it might be.
anybody care to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Opposed? Nay. We're adjourned.
we're adjourned.